the ability for us to create a local circular economy. And what we were able to do is basically link with Unilever, one of the big brand owners that are also very active in East Africa and other African countries, and create the first bottle in a home care application made out of 100% local recycled material or recycled plastic.
So in Kenya,
to be more
100%
specific.
recycled.
Exactly, and everything locally collected, locally recycled, and locally made again. And the power that this has to do this locally and to redistribute the value all the way up to the waste pickers or the reclaimers is a proven model. And I think other brands owners jumping on this value proposition to have a technically viable PCR, post-consumer recyclate, with a traceability and a social impact element is, I think, a key element to accelerate this localized circular economy in emerging markets. And so obviously other brand owners supporting this cause and jumping on, creating that demand, that stable demand for this sort of fair PCR and inclusive PCR is of essence. Yeah, so that's one. And then obviously also people with skills. We believe that our model can be applied into other emerging markets. So having more brains and coming and thinking of how can we scale this into the next countries, and really building a global company or an emerging market company that allows us to really offer that fair and inclusive PCR to the brand owners and other plastic manufacturers.
Can I elaborate on that, the social aspect? You work with the informal sector. Why is that so important for a lot of other countries as well? Everybody talks about it, but not a lot of people are doing it. What can you share on the informal sector and working with them?
Sure. I think it's a really important question, and I'll also re-emphasize that again in my closing remarks. But I think if we think of circular solutions, especially in emerging markets, we must think of including this informal market and the most marginalized people in emerging markets. And actually, it gives us an opportunity to truly leapfrog. What Patrick also said, leapfrog into a new system, a new environment, and really empower people. So we can actually solve environmental issues and we can solve social issues as well at the same time. And that's the beauty of the circular economy that I see, that the underlying opportunities there are. So really, again, emphasis on thinking when we think of solutions, especially in emerging markets, we must include this informal market and try to informalize them and bring them into a more predictable and less marginalized value chain. And I think plastic or other waste streams and circular economy is a very great tool for us to do that.
Thanks, Kieran. Thank you for this heartwarming initiative. I hope and I think that you will grow. You've been a great guest here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So for the people back home, this is probably one of the last moments to enter your questions to Kieran and others, to state your comments or moments of support. I want to invite back our key experts again, because we are going towards the end of the webinar and we want to, let's say, catch up with the results. So what I've heard so far is, and I've seen so far, is that we have really heartwarming initiatives in every continent, in every part of the value chain. We've heard lots of advice in the design phase, the production phase, the usage phase, the waste management phase. We've heard, let's say, recommendations from what's needed for innovation, what's needed to create a market, partnering. So I want your reflections on it. And I want to start with Jocelyn. Jocelyn, are you back with us? Because I want to ask you from the perspective of emerging countries, what would be your pick of the various recommendations that you've heard? So what have you learned?
From the various recommendations
which you find are very suitable to emerging countries.
The recommendations that I'm going to find very suitable for emerging countries, I would like to talk about. I learned a lot from all the entrepreneurs, and there are best practices that can be replicable in Africa. The reused and the inclusive aspect of circular economy is very, very important. And This is what we at the African Circular Economy Network, we try to put the human at the center of circular economy, and that is the beauty of circular economy, because a circular economy without human at the center is not sustainable. So we try to make sure we guide our entrepreneurs in our network. We oriented them in such a way that their business model has human at the center of its application. And we know in Africa, circular economy is mostly centered on recovery, because we are greatly an importing continent as far as products are concerned. So we are not yet very much implicated in design and production level, but mostly is the user behavior and the waste management. So that is what we have to stress, like we have to stress on now, the user, the behavioral attitude of the user, and also the waste management aspect of it. And later on, we might have to stress on the design and the production phase as well. But we try to cover all, but lay more emphasis on what we are focused on now. That is the waste management aspect and the usage of the various plastic products.
So waste management as a catalyst for a circular economy. And, can you...
Yes, for the continent, exactly.
What are your thoughts about education and skills?
Yeah, skills are also very, very important, because that is what we are doing now. We have a program with the academia at the African Circular Economy Network, because we are trying to raise awareness on circular economy in the academia world, because there is very little or very low awareness in the academia, in the policy environment, because academia are actually the one educating our consumers